It is Tuesday, the 22nd of October, 2024. Good morning, Trinidad and Tobago. This is news to 6 a.m. on News Power Digital. Trinidad and Tobago police officers continue to comply with the order to return tactical gear to meet tomorrow Wednesday's deadline. Officers have discovered gear that was allegedly issued to a police officer who had been on sick leave for about a year, as well as camouflage items and a firearm, which were discovered by officers at a house in Guayguari yesterday morning. Among the items recovered were a Phantom BB pistol 4.5mm with holster, a TTPS identification badge in the name of a police constable, a blue T-shirt with a TTPS emblem, a pair of black cargo pants, a blue operational jacket with 2 TTPS shoulder patches and 2 front police patches, a black cap marked police, and a ski mask, 2 pairs of camouflage trousers, and a patterned T-shirt. The police team retrieved the items at a house in La Savane Circular in Newlands. Officers had a High Court search warrant to search for firearms and ammunition at the house. During the search, the items were found concealed under a mattress. The officer whose name was on the badge and identification card was last attached to the Eastern Police Division. He was detained by his colleagues and taken to the Mayo Police Station for questioning by senior officers. A civilian man at Mayo was also detained for questioning in connection with the discovery. Independent Senator Suniti Maharaj yesterday criticized government for what she called recycled and failed crime-fighting measures. In her contribution to the budget debate in the Senate, Maharaj stated the country is heading for a new record murder rate. She said with the murders at the current rate, it would be a surprise if we did not establish a new record this year, probably between 630 and 650 murders. I hope not, she says. Organized crime continues to be a problem, with gangs being the minions of the chief. Maharaj said crime had crossed a threshold where criminal acts are random and opportunistic. She also pointed out that there is no focus on the real problem, the inflow of guns from the coast and issues of human trafficking. She also emphasized the need to secure our borders. The opposition United National Congress has expressed serious concerns regarding the bidding process for the Petrochile refinery in Port-au-Pierre and is demanding that the procedure be scrapped entirely and a criminal forensic investigation initiated. Speaking in the upper house yesterday during the 2025 budget debate, Senator Wade Mark made the call as he accused the government of attempting to manipulate the process in favor of Indian business magnate Naveen Jindal. He said the call was being made after the UNC had gathered background information on the 3 companies shortlisted by Minister Imber to bid for the refinery. In his 2024-25 budget presentation, Finance Minister Colin Imber announced the cabinet had shortlisted 3 companies from a total of 10 interested parties. The shortlisted bidders include CRO Consortium, a Trinidad-based entity comprising DR Commodities Limited, Chemi Tech, and Ocala, and Inca Energy LLC from the US, and Dando PLC from Nigeria. The selection process was conducted by Scotia Capital USA in partnership with evaluating committees. Jindal, an industrialist and chairman of the Jindal Steel and Power Group, was initially among 10 companies interested in acquiring the refinery. He withdrew his interest in a letter to Prime Minister Dr. Keith Rowley dated July 26, stating character assassination from the opposition following his visit in June 2024. The government claims TNT has one of the lowest inflation rates in the Caribbean and the world, according to Finance Minister Colin Imber. He made the comment while speaking during the Appropriation 2024-25 debate in the Senate on Monday. It was revealed the inflation rate moved from 8% at the end of December 2 years ago to 3.9% in the first quarter of 2023. In July this year, the inflation rate fell to 0.3% based on information provided by the Central Statistical Office. Southern Division officers arrested and detained seven individuals for various offenses during an operation in the Southern Division. Between 3 a.m. and 8 a.m. on the 20th of October, officers from the Criminal Investigations Department, CID, and K9 unit conducted an operation in the division targeting suspects involved in serious crimes. Among those arrested, a 14-year-old from Paradise Heights Mover for possession of cocaine for the purpose of trafficking, a 32-year-old from Laventille Road, San Juan for possession of cocaine, 2 individuals, a 20-year-old from Aladdin Drive, Gasparillo, and the 23-year-old from Gasparillo were arrested for prohibited immigration. Additionally, Few other persons were arrested: a 31-year-old from Harmony Hall, Gasparillo, for possession of cannabis, a 29-year-old from Broomage Road, Princestown, for larceny, and a 25-year-old from Petit Cafe, Princestown, for wounding. Finally, the U.S. White House has declined comment on Elon Musk's increasingly prominent role in Donald Trump's presidential campaign. The tech billionaire is offering $1 million a day to one random registered voters in key swing states until the election on November 5th. Governor Josh Shapiro of Pennsylvania, a key battleground state, is calling on investigators to look at the cash offering's legality. Trump appeared on the podcast of former WWE wrestler Mark Calloway, aka The Undertaker, as part of his campaign strategy to boost the former president's appeal to young male voters. And that is news to 6 a.m. right here on News Power Digital. We'll have major news coming your way at 7 a.m. Good morning.
Up to date and credible. Power 102 Digital.
Morning, neighbors. It is 7 minutes. After the hour of 6 o'clock. I love to hear an echo. In the 22nd day of October. Good morning to you. Thank you so much for joining us on the Power Breakfast Show on Power 102 Digital. It's all about the hours this morning. We just heard from Dr. Paul Richards with our news brief. Richard Ragoobarsingh will join us. Ruben is up somewhere. Shane is in another studio. Of course, my name is Steve Khan. It is 25 degrees and rain in Piaco. Yep. Also 25 at Crown Point in Tobago with light rain. What the Met Office is saying our weather is going to be like for today. Dan Raj is telling me it's bad weather out in Central. So, yeah, I heard that thunder this morning, and then we had a couple power dips here at the office. So, don't know what's going on. Met Office has not updated their weather. As soon as it does, I will tell you. Good morning to you, Pablo.
Good morning, Steve. Good morning, everyone.
What's shaking?
Everything.
Oh, jeez. I need to stop saying that. I really do. All right. Good morning to you, Paul. See what's happening on the highways and the byways at this time. I'm watching a radar here. It looks like we're going to get some good rain. Usual stuff, Couva, just after Couva to Sugar Guanas and volume everywhere else, okay? Yeah, let's see who sent us hellos. GNC Auto Security, Dan Raj, yep. David Nelson, Anthony in Toronto, good morning to you. Locked on YouTube. And, of course, Captain Ron out in Orlando. Hope you're feeling better, Captain Ron. Of course, on YouTube and Facebook, we got Maria Celia, Anthony Tinto out in Canada, Isasha out in London, Oliver Man Warren, Gloria Gray out in South Oropouche. We have Ray out in West Palm Beach, Florida, Garth Celia in Valencia. What the weather is like, Garth. Wendy and James, Wayne Bennington, Covington, Georgia, D. Pierre, Carol Guevara, Business Bastard, Salim Abdullah, good morning. Okay, Michael Mapp, David Wares out in Dago, and of course, Mrs. Wares, and Rena Boodoo Jennings, not forgetting Carl M. Jack out in Baghdad. Good morning to you all. Thank you so much for joining us. Wayne Ramsey just snuck in. Is it raining up at your side, Paul? I know it's raining in Arima.
No.
No rain as yet. Yeah, I was hearing that thunder this morning. And it's rough. And yes, Paul, I got that this morning. This, speedy recovery. Woosa. You have to say woosa in this country, I was actually looking for some good news and I couldn't find any. I'll search again. Must have good news somewhere. We are live and kicking and give thanks. Yep, I have okay. Yeah, man. I was at Parliament yesterday, Paul.
Long,
Oh, what time did that finish?
9 o'clock.
Jeez and ages. Wow. And you're back there today again?
Yep.
Oh, boy. Hope you have a early night tonight. Really do. All right. Because I have no birthday. You know what? Let me say condolences going out to the De Silva family. I would say the grandmother of Joshua De Silva, our national cricketer. I know his father, I know his parents very, very well on the passing of their grandmother. So condolences to you all. And then the father of my very, very good friend, I've known since I was 3-4 years old. It's one of those that you have a friend in your hand. His dad, Krishna Maharaj, passed away. Of course, Rishi and Shiva, condolences to you all. He was 88 years old. I'm sure my parents don't know yet. I'll have to call them and tell them. So condolences to you, Rishi and Shiva, and Auntie Babsy, and to the Silva family. PP is telling me it's pouring in Aruca. It's coming your way, Paul. I don't know what Paul is doing.
Working.
Okay. Yeah, it's pouring in Aruca.
Well, word just coming to hand is that a WPC, a woman police constable, was shot multiple times in Canada.
Yeah.
Early this morning.
Yeah, 1:30.
Yeah.
Little sleep or what?
Came from the airport, was picked up by a female friend at the airport and was heading to her Carney home, which is not far from the airport.
Yeah,
And when she reached the premises, waiting for the front gate to open, two gunmen came out of a car, rushed to the vehicle, and attempted to open the locked doors, which was unsuccessful, and then began shooting at the right side of the vehicle, hitting the WPC. She was hit in the chest and breast and is fighting for her life.
Now, that's his second police officer in less than a week to be shot at, huh?
Right breast, right hand, and twice in her head. So that doesn't sound very promising. Well, I don't know if they were waiting for them outside or if it was a crime of opportunity.
I don't know why. I don't know.
But she just come back into the country, so I don't know who would have information that she just came back into the country and left the airport minutes earlier. I don't know. It's just really depressing. As I said yesterday in the Senate, the Minister of Finance indicated in the last 10 years, guess how much money was spent on the TTPS in the last 10 years?
We know that's $500 million.
Go again.
$750 million.
Keep going.
Seriously? Less or more?
$26 billion. $26 billion was invested into the Trinidad and Tobago Police Service in the last 10 years. And my question is, have we seen value for money? And the answer is no.
No.
After $26 billion spent in 10 years, do you feel safer? No. Are you safer? No.
No.
And that's the question. No, they could jump out the cell phone in the chat this morning if they want. Or it's a crime all over the world. I live in here. And
10 years.
$26
billion.
$26 billion later. Anaconda.
It's all anyway.
Crime Plan Anaconda.
Don't get my vectors.
Crime Plan Green Lizard.
Anaconda.
A million crime plan. But after $26 billion spent in 10 years, do you feel safer? Or more profoundly, are you safer?
Paul?
No, you're not safer. So they failed miserably. And this is 4 commissioners, 2 acting commissioners and 2 substantive commissioners, including the present office holder. I mean, really. When I heard that, I said, wow, $26 billion. $26 billion. That's like half the budget.
Yeah.
And that's not counting the other arms of national security. Okay? That is not counting the other arms of national security, including the Defense Force, the Coast Guard, SSA, all the agencies under national security charged with the responsibility of keeping us safe. So
So the management of the TDPS has failed us in 10 years. Could we
but
say that?
but if after $26 billion in 10 years we are where we are now, heading to potentially another record, unfortunately, record murder rate. I mean, we failed. Can anyone out there tell me they feel safe? No. Well, I don't feel safe. I know people have changed their lifestyle so much because of the feeding of uncertainty and a lack of safety. So I don't know. It's like they're making it up as they go along.
$26 billion.
You
can't call I say that you can't call 999 and not be put on hold. And let me know go down the line. Yes.
There needs to be accountability for money spent in any sector.
Yeah.
After 10 years, $26 billion has been invested. You have to ask yourself, what's the country gotten for that? What has the country received for that?
At $26 billion, we can't even get the police officers to wear a body cam.
Well, to me, that is one of the transparency and accountability issue, but the crime plan after crime plan, the abysmal detection and solvency rates, And David was right, at $26 billion in 10 years, somebody make a lot of money.
Somebody make a dollar.
So, and I don't mind.
People make a dollar.
I have no problem with people making money if we're seeing results. If the place was safer and you felt safe moving around, and your wife and your daughter and your children were safe moving around, and you didn't have to spend every mortal minute your family's outside worrying if they're coming home, then yeah, money is money. But when you don't have the results that are supposed to be commensurate with that kind of investment, $26 billion. When I read the document yesterday, I said, what? Because, of course, they gave us the whole bag of documents yesterday. So I was going through the documents, and it's like, wow.
I can't get away with $26 billion in 10 years.
And I also asked the minister yesterday, I hope he responds when he's wrapping up, more than likely on Wednesday, about the situation related to the numeracy online platform, which I think is a great idea. The ebooks program, which should start in June next year, which is a long time to wait, but I guess they have to put systems in place and acquire the books and all that, and put the systems in place for distribution, which I think is a great idea because it breaks up this textbook mafia, because there's a textbook mafia in Trinidad and Tobago.
Yes, there is a textbook mafia.
And what has there been contemplated, because they've put aside money in the budget to pursue those initiatives. What we saw during the pandemic in COVID-19 is that the presumption that everyone has a device is an erroneous presumption. And people seem to think, well, people have phones. Do you ever try to do homework on a phone? Not every family has devices and a Wi-Fi.
Exactly.
And they may not be able to access the numeracy platform, which again, I think is a great idea. Fantastic idea. The other issue that came up yesterday, which I presented, is the issue of school dropouts and the problem with primary schools and matriculation in secondary schools. And when you look at the data, literally between 2012 and 2019, 5,000 students dropped out between primary and secondary school. 5,000 in that 7-year period. 5,000 dropped out. And then there are those who stay in school for the 5 years of secondary school, and they check out mentally and cognitively. So while they stay in school, they come out with nothing.
I see police did
The SEA results showed that students scoring under 30%, and I have a real issue with that 30%. That 30%, that is the benchmark for moving from primary to secondary school, is destroying our education system. Because if you could move from primary to secondary school by just scoring 30% or 40%, You are going into secondary school absent of the information you need to function effectively. Think about scoring 40%, and the benchmark for moving forward is 30%. Think about that you have scored 30%, but you are moved from primary to secondary school and expected to function. The Prime Minister said, and I read the article yesterday, was several newspapers carried it, I think from back in June, that the education system, the Prime Minister, Dr. Keith Rowley, said the education system is creating criminals and gang members because of its failure. And the same thing I've been saying for years, students who are matriculated up from primary school into secondary school without being ready because of this 30% benchmark that is sticking to slavishly, which tells you if you scored 30%, you have not mastered most of the content. And they're sticking to it. And they continue to every year and move these students and setting them up for failure.
Mm-hmm.
How does that make any sense? And then they say, well, they have remedial. In the last 3 years, they've invested, I think, in the first year, $12 million. The second year, $7 million. And this year, they plan to invest $10 million in remedial lessons for students who are going into Form 1 who are struggling. Let me tell you something. By the time you're doing the remedial work and you have to keep up with the curriculum in Form 1, you don't feel defeated already. You don't feel defeated. And although we've invested 12 and 7 point something, there's almost 20 million in remedial work since COVID, which I agree with was a good idea. There is no data to suggest how impactful it has been. Because again, although they invested in all this money, those who scored under 30% went up from 13 point something to 14 point something percent in 2024 SCA. So while they invest in all this money, the results are getting worse in some areas.
Mm-hmm.
You know why? Because we like to focus on the bright children and parade with them when SCA results and CSEC results come out. You understand? Pamela, that is not the response. The issue is the system that is predicated on moving people up when they score 30% is a flawed premise. It has been going on long before this PNM administration in place, long before the UNCA People's Partnership before that. It is unfortunately standard procedure, which doesn't make any sense. Because if even at 40% you move to Form 1, you have not mastered the curriculum. And then you're going up on top of that, you're going into secondary school Form 1 to meet a whole new curriculum when you're not ready for it. What do you think going to happen? You're going to fail. You are going to struggle. And I don't know what other language to say that in that 30% is the bane of our education system. It is setting up thousands of students every year for failure. I want to put them, should I put up the, oh, Father. I want to put up the data. I'm too lazy this morning. I ain't in the mood. Anyway, I'll go and get just now. When you look and analyze the data about SCA results, they said, give me a second, Stephen, don't pull it up. It is important to talk about this.
But I've always said I have a problem with SCA. You're too young an age to define exactly the course of your life. I'm still trying to get over $26 billion in 10 years.
And let me tell you, I don't have a problem with SCA. People have this issue with SCA. At some point in your life, in your educational journey, you have to sit standardized tests. Whether you call it SCA, whether you call it CSEC, whether you call it GCE, at some point in your life, your competencies have to be assessed on the same scale as your educational peers. You have to do several assessments as you go through your educational life. So the issue is not SCA. The issue is preparation, effective preparation for SCA. People like to blame SCA. SCA is not the problem. The issue is preparation for SCA. All right, I find it. Let me tell you. Let me give you the results. And the results that the ministry gave and the results when you sift through the data. when you do the analysis yourself.
You're putting it up, or
they like to put press releases that make them look good, eh? All right, there we go. SEA performance analyzed on 3 main areas: the percentage of students scoring above 50%, the percentage of students scoring 30% and below, and the percentage of students scoring 90 and above in the upper 90th percentile, right? So in 2024, the percentage of students scoring 50 and above was 57.91%, right? Versus 58. Good morning, Ragoobarsingh.
Hi, good morning, guys.
8.06, a slight increase. And 37.6 in 2022, one would expect it would increase because they went back to face-to-face classes. No problem. Here what the real issue is here. 18,177 students start the SE examination in 2024, right? So the ministry's release said the mean mathematics score was 50.7% compared to 50.4%, marginal increase. There was a slight decline in the overall scores of students in this year's examination. The ministry reported that 57.9 or 10,524 students scored 50% and above. That means, when you do the simple arithmetic, that if 10,524 students scored above 50% out of 18,000, how much? 177. It means that 7,653 students scored under 50%. How does that equate to creating the kind of citizen and that's productive and competitive? That's above 1/3. The ministry also stated, hear this line, eh? Hear this line. This is the line that caught me, because the way they write things, if you don't dig through the lines, you don't get the 50% of the 80 primary schools. There was an increase of the average weighted score for students. So in other words, in 40 of the 80 primary schools, they increased. So the other 40, there was no increase. And 45% of these schools, there was a decline in the percentage of students scoring 30% and lower. So in other words, in the other 85, there was no decline, there was an increase. You understand? If you read between the lines, the converse of what is being said. I mean, really, you're trying to hide numbers to make yourself look good. Between 23 and 24, with all the millions being invested in remedial action, the 2023 number of students, 13.55% of 18,000 scored under 30% in 2023. That rose to 14.39%, or 2,615 students, 0.7 students. You can't have a 0.7 students, so 2,616 students scored under percent. 2,600 students scoring under 30%. What's going to happen with them? What is going to happen with them? And they're sticking slavishly to this 30% benchmark for matriculation to secondary school, which makes no sense. So then, I guess they then decide, well, some of them, you know, the long time where they used to say, I didn't want to use the word student arbitrary. Forget them. Whatever happened with them happened. I mean, really. And we keep doing the same nonsense over and over and expect different results, while the children are the ones that's suffering.
Exactly.
While the gangs waiting open arms for them, because the school system tell you from the time you go in standard 1, you reach form 3, you're a failure, because the system is not providing support and remediation for you. And for many reasons: poor family situation, no nutrition, no books, no devices. Really? When you're going to take a look at it and deal with it frontally, and realize that a 30% benchmark for movement from primary to secondary school is simply almost criminal? You know as knowing 1/3 of the work and going to secondary school? Even if you score 70%, you struggle. When you're going from, not so Richard, the adjustment from primary to secondary school, isn't it a struggle naturally?
It's a jump.
It's a jump. So if you are unprepared for that, what do you think is going to happen? What do you think is going to happen? And then they wonder why they join in gangs at 8 and 10, while they're getting in trouble, emotional behavioral problems, why they give in trouble and they don't care about the system and they're creating their own rules. You understand? I mean, these things are basic. I read a story about a woman whose son was diagnosed with congenital eye cataracts. And she struggled with her son who's preparing for SEA next year, begging for an aid. They put him in the school for the blind. I mean,
you're joking me.
Yeah, they put him in, and that's supposed to fix it. And we all know those specialized schools are not in keeping with best practice. Blind and deafness is easily remediated in a general education classroom.
And all he has is cataract?
Well, not all he has is cataracts. It's a serious problem, right? He can't see. So you can't say all he has is cataracts. But if he's provided with an aid, he can function effectively in the classroom. So you have an inclusive policy statement that you like to boast about, but you're sending to school for the blind? Really? Let me tell you something, Jesus Christ. And teachers are being asked, I don't blame teachers, to do more and more and more and more and more, which in many cases they're not trained for. They're not trained for that. You ever sit down with a let me read the Guardian newspaper report of June 2nd. Secondary school system breeding uneducated gang members by Akash Tamaru. Prime Minister Dr. Keith Hawley is blaming the current education system for creating a conveyor belt of uneducated young gang members. That is the Prime Minister saying that last year. It don't get no more profound than that. He went on to say, quote, because we've once made the decision that everyone goes to high school, the question remains, what about those children who enter secondary school not having been readied by the primary school system? When they get to secondary school, what curriculum are they going to follow? This is the Prime Minister, not me, the Prime Minister saying that here. He said those are the ones who will largely end up in the clutches of drug dealers and smart men who organize gangs, and the skill set they have is criminal conduct. This is the Prime Minister of the country saying that. Right? Hear me? What I've been saying for a while. What you're doing is setting them up for failure, and then the gangs take them. Because they keep doing the same stupid thing, the same stupid way all the time, and think, oh, well, it's been done for 20 years. Let's continue that way. To move a child from primary to secondary school after scoring 30% is almost criminal. I'll say over and over. I'll say it over and over. Even 40%. It means you have not mastered most of the material that you're required to know before you matriculate to secondary school. What do you think is going to happen with that child or those children? They're going to continue to underperform.
But at what point, because obviously this is a resource and thinking through the problem issue. It's two things, because you have to do resource allocation and you have to think through, okay, what are the remedial steps in dealing with this problem in a national school system? How would you approach it, Paul? In terms of, is it that you're going to have, because you have this progression through the school system from standard 5 to form 1, wherever you are, because you do SEA and you are placed, is it that you intervene at the first form level?
No.
And there are several students that have to have remedial classes.
If you wait until SEA, because these children from standard 1 to standard 5 in primary school get regular tests. They get term tests, they get monthly tests. You shouldn't have to wait for SEA to know that these students are struggling, because you have all the data from standard 1 2, 3, 4, at which point the ones who are underperforming, you intensify the focus with differentiated curriculum or other interventions and supports to get them where you need to get them performing to 50%. What we do is we wait until SEA, oh my God, they score 30% or 40%. It shouldn't be that. They will not, it's unlikely that a child will be doing well and then suddenly underperform in SEA. Most of the children who underperform at SEA have been underperforming through the entire primary school life, and nobody's picking it up because it's like a conveyor belt, as the Prime Minister say. It's just getting them through a system in road because, well, this education law says everybody has to be educated, but it's not really education. You know what I read yesterday also? I have to go and dig up. You know what are the 4 main functions of an education system? I have to go and get my book. I write real thing yesterday. There are 4 main functions of an education system: socialization and core value instilling, right? Social integration, cultural and academic innovation, critical thinking, problem solving, and interpersonal relationships. It's not about maths and chemistry alone. A large part of the education system's function is to create norms and value systems that everyone can follow. That's why in Singapore and Switzerland and many progressive countries, you see from 2 to 5 years, maths and English and thing, is manners, politeness, social skills, and discipline. So by the time they get to 5 and they get into their version of primary schools, they are inculcated with the values you want to start to see in an individual, the values that society deems important, so that those children are in a particular stream of training so that they are ready to go into accepting academic curriculum. And they are very good at identifying learning disabilities, specific learning disabilities, and special needs. Because a lot of these students you're seeing underperforming today have significant emotional behavioral issues that have not gone undiagnosed and untreated. Specific learning disabilities, something is so simple, like the one I read earlier on with the mother, this child is diagnosed as having cataracts, almost nil sight, and you're not providing an aid. So go to the school for the blind. I mean, we are not unique in the challenges we face. We just seem to not want to institute best practice.
Well, it's a resource allocation issue too.
Everywhere.
But that's what I'm saying. So I'm saying it's our willpower to make sure that those resources are allocated properly in terms of interventions that are necessary.
I'm not getting results and continue to spend the resources. Like the remedial investment of 12 million 23, 7 million 2024, and 10 million 24. That we have no idea if it's working or not. We just train money at it. There's no data to say, well, let's analyze the data and see if it's actually working and where the gaps are and where it's actually working. We just keep training money at it. It's not always like the TPS I said earlier. In the budget statement, what I'm going through this thing is $26 billion in the last 10 years spent in the TTPS. There's no allocation shortage. That is people doing dotishness and don't know what they're doing. $26 billion in 10 years? That's not a resource issue. That's a management issue and an expertise issue. $26 billion in 10 years on the TTPS alone. I ain't talking about other arms of national security here. The TTPS alone. Do you feel we got value for that money? Do you feel safer after $26 billion spent? I don't. I didn't get no coffee this morning yet, sorry. There are entire school districts that are underperforming. The whole district. There are entire schools that are underperforming. When a school underperforming, it's not the students, it's the school and the systems in the school. Shall we open the phones? I don't know. I'm fed up. I'm tired.
But a lot of times, they have these education seminars or whatever from time to time about
nice breakfast,
about
Nice breakfast. Nice breakfast. Buffet
about
breakfast.
the issues facing the school issue.
Sausage and egg, bacon, bourgeois,
problems.
salad, fruit salad.
You don't know.
Nice
You know,
breakfast.
it's amazing to me that in 2024, going into 2025, almost, that we are still grappling with these issues of proper interventions, a proper adapting of the education system, because the education system cannot be a monolithic thing that remains cemented in a particular kind of way. As you move forward, it has to be adaptable because education continues to evolve. It continues to evolve in terms of the way you can get education. It continues to evolve in terms of the learning available in education. And a lot of times we seem to move too slowly in how our education system adapts. And I mean, we've had conversations, of course, through the years with every single minister of education. The current minister of education is actually the most inaccessible one to this Power Breakfast show that I've ever experienced in all of my years on this show.
Agreed.
Yeah, and all the others have been very accessible.
When you don't want to be challenged, and you don't want to be questioned as to your policies, you will absent yourself, right?
Yeah, I don't know what her reason is. I don't see that she does a lot of interviews, period. I can't remember seeing many interviews with her. But she certainly, in terms of the previous Minister of Education, I'm talking about the Power Breakfast show. There was some that were almost, you could almost call like co-hosts. Every time you needed to speak to them, they were accessible.
When they
raise issues with them.
The hosts don't know what to ask them, and they ask them the platitudes.
But
good morning. How about you for breakfast this morning? I like that dress. That's nice. Who did you hear?
But this one has been. I don't know what her reason is for.
I don't know. I have tried.
I don't know, and I have to say the seeming inaccessibility. I don't know that it's malicious or anything like that. I just think that he doesn't do media for whatever reason.
Let's grab this call. Good morning.
Yeah, good morning to the breakfast crew.
Good morning, Anthony.
Trinidad and Tobago. Yeah, first of all, I humbly apologize for my poor mathematical skills on Friday. Two, and on Friday, I did call to wish my friend Sean Walters, a.k.a. Bad Dog, happy birthday. And with a sad heart, I say condolence to him and his family. And one more thing, gentlemen. Something is terrifying me, man. I don't know if anybody have noticed it, but last night, I sat outside with my wife. I checked 22 unidentified objects flying in single file. Then I saw another 12, and this morning I've seen about 40. I have never seen so much activity in the sky, and I'm always looking up.
The aliens coming to save us.
Anybody else has seen this?
That's Richard Friends. Okay.
The aliens coming to save us.
It's crazy.
I don't know. Is it
anybody?
Huh? Is it above North America? Are you calling from North America?
Canada.
In Canada, man. Like right now, I'm seeing it. I'm outside, and you could see the amount of movement. And I'm out here every day, and it's the most traffic I've ever seen in the sky, and it's not playing.
All right.
Okay, guys, have a great day.
Thank you. That's interesting.
Yo, make a call there, Rich. Good morning.
Good morning, gentlemen.
Morning.
Dr. Paul, what was the reason they moved the common entrance? Because when you fail, they used to get a next chance to sit the common entrance. But with this other thing, you fail, you pass, you fail. And what you think is, how could you go back to that and leaving it as it is here?
I don't think that's the answer. All students at the various points in their educational lives will have to go through standardized tests. A standardized test is basic, no matter what you're doing. The issue is not common entrance or SCA. The issue is preparation or preparing the child effectively for it. And my understanding is not when you score under 30%, you're supposed to stay back and do some remedial work. But I don't even know that 30%, scoring about 30% is helpful to move to standard for Form 1. Because you're still doing most of the work.
But can they stop sending them if they doesn't pass, if they the 30%? Can they leave them back as how they used to do for them to better themselves? At least get 100 or 99, whatever, instead of leaving it like that. Because if you don't know the foundation, you cannot go forward.
Here's the funny thing about that. So you went through standard 1, you went through standard 2, you went through standard 3, 4, and 5, and then you score under 30%. Do you really think, I mean reasonably, that 1 year remedial we're going to get you where you need to be? Does that make logical sense to you? That 1 year, which is really 9 months of work, if you look at the holidays, is going to get you where you need to be? No, your mama guiding the children. Your mama guiding the children to say you're doing something and setting them up.
Good morning, caller.
Good morning, guys.
Good morning.
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 I could not believe when I saw that video where the police officer got killed in Arima. And then I heard this officer was on suspension since 2015. How could somebody be on suspension? That is 9 years. And I don't understand now. I'm hearing the president of the police association saying they're short staff and they're short staff. Well, you must be short staff, because why an officer must be? This is the second officer I know.
Yeah, in full pay and working in bar.
And got killed and never get to clear his name. Now suppose this officer is innocent and he died without clearing his name. There was one in Valencia. He had a mini mart. He was robbed and got killed and never got to clear his name. That wife was in a mess. So I am saying, Gideon Dixon, you need to see if you could get the officers who are on suspension. I don't know how it is you will be able to do it. Because remember when Gary Griffith was the COP, he told us there are 300 officers on suspension. And I don't know, what if he was trying to see if he could get them to speed up whatever. But this is ridiculous, because I mean, we saw George Floyd matter. It didn't take a year when Derek Chauvin was charged, convicted, and sentenced. Why our cases had to go 10 and 15 years? Good Lord, Chief Justice, do something. We can't go on this way, can't they explain her? We just can't go on this way. This is madness. 9 years? Look, give me a break. I get real upset when I hear that. A man on suspension, 9 years, and all you're saying, all your short staff. Look, you'll have a blessed day.
I saw the video of that shooting, because
all my lines are lit up, but
one or two people in the supermarket at the time. At least one of the persons, I think they got shot.
All right, let's get in the headlines, gentlemen. We'll open the lines. Yeah. All right. Headlines, gentlemen.
All right, so I have papers.
Okay, great.
So I can start with the Daily Express this morning. And of course, today is Tuesday, October 22nd, 2024. And I could say happy birthday to my cousin, Nanette Ford John. Happy birthday, Nanette. I know we are very close in our birthdays. Hope you're having a fantastic day, or will have a fantastic day today. The main headline, cop busted. Police gear issued to officer on extended sick leave discovered hidden in Guayari house. A police badge and a gun found in Guayari yesterday. And of course a uniform, etc. That's the main headline on the front page of the Daily Express. Senate budget debate, mark scrap Petrochin sale. On the back page of the Daily Express, health and safety concerns at Arangwas North Secondary teachers stop work. And there is a picture, of course, of the president of Tutor, Martin Lumpkin, and first vice president Adesh Waraka. So there's a picture of that. I'm going into the Express to get the sport. Series still alive. Franklin West Indies looking for an all-round improvement. Butler to miss ODIs versus Windies, and Dutton Fletcher named in T20 World Cup team of the tournament. Moving on to the Trinidad and Tobago Guardian for today. Stewart back in charge. PM overlooks Imber, puts Young to act for third time.
So that like confusion, overlooks, eh?
Yeah, Stewart back in charge. PM overlooks Imber, puts Young to act for third time. Well, they can't say that, Paul, because Imber has been the constant go-to in terms of acting as Prime Minister, and if suddenly it switched, you will use the word. It's legitimate, in my opinion, to use the word overlook.
Bacchanal.
Yeah, but it's well. I'm sure
Mr.
Imber, I'm sure Mr. Imber feels a little slighted.
It sells.
Mr. Imber must feel a little slighted. You know his personality. Is he welcoming?
We need to speed up, gentlemen.
To be rushing with you.
Trying to push it back now. Copping hot water after ID and uniform seized in raid. Officers hand in tactical gear. All of that is on the front page of The Guardian. And on the back page is Red Force prepares for title defense, full-on backs bowling unit. And that's it for the front and the back of The Guardian. Newsday for today. I mean, I don't know Mr. Imber actually feels about it, but it's nice to speculate. Gridlock Fair. Nagar's opening night. Circus comes to Central. Roadworks continue to expand highway. Mayor calls emergency meeting. That does sound like a recipe for disaster in terms of traffic in Shagoras. So,
plus, Diwali Nagar opens today.
Circus comes to Central, and roadworks are continuing. So, Mayor calls an emergency meeting. Teachers won't teach at Arangwa Sec. All of that is on the front page of the Newsday. And on the back page, Malabar Youngsters Ed CG Poseidon to EFA title. Kenyan Alex Ikesa upgraded to RBC 15K crown. Decision reversed. So that's it for our 3 dailies this morning. So now you are aware of what the main stories are in the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago, according to the editors.
All right, let's get the results of our morning poll where we asked you yesterday, should the laws amended regarding parents' use of corporal punishments to discipline their children? Should the laws be amended? 70%, 70, said no. All right, let's get into this morning's poll, guys. I know Paul has one up there ready. Right, where is it? Okay. The state has invested $26 billion in the Trinidad and Tobago Police Service in the past 10 years. Do you feel safer? Yes or no? That's our morning poll. 222-8255. Toll free. North Americans 866-525-1099 on WhatsApp and on Facebook. Of course, WhatsApp is 318-1021 on YouTube. Yeah. All right. So let's go. Good morning, caller.
Good morning, Trinbago, CV baby. Salim Abdul in New York.
Hey, Salim. How you doing? Long time.
What's happening? Yeah. Dr. Paul.
Good morning.
$26 billion.
$26 billion. That's our pool. The state has invested $26 billion in the TTPS. Do you feel safer?
Over the past 10 years. Well, I'm out here in New York, so I get home occasionally. But when I get home, I should see state-of-the-art police stations. Crime should be almost down to zero. It's crazy.
So you would say
$26 billion. Good morning, Richard B. Mr. Ragoobarsingh, how are you, sir?
I'm good.
Good, great. Yeah. That is crazy. That is crazy, Senator. $26 billion.
Thank you, Salim.
Okay, gentlemen, I'm going to leave you. I know the news is coming up.
Yeah.
Take care, gentlemen.
All righty. Good morning, caller.
Good morning. Do you feel safe after $26 billion in the TDPS in 10 years?
Good morning, gentlemen. Tanny Grandy, no.
Thank you, Grandy. Good morning. Good morning. All right, not there. Let's go. So we got some votes online. Let's see. Let's go to it. Right, here we go. Right. Von Drayton says no. Right. Von Drayton says no. David Wares, not at all by 2. Thank you, Cheryl. Wayne Lala says no. Gloria Gray says no. Beauty Culture says no. June Fletcher says no. Cheryl Henry, no. DL, no. Josie Richardson, no. Michael Robinson, no way. Brush or whatever that is, no. Wayne Ramsey, no. Salim Abdullah, no. Michael Gradison, no. Somebody says Vincent out in the UK says no. David Nelson says no. Lenny James says no. Lona, morning Lona. Indy Carly, absolutely not. Anthony Toronto, not when I visit. Strong says no. Captain Ron says hell no. Let's see. Oh gosh, that's a book. Okay, good morning, guys. Okay. Dan Rad says no. Rico Mayer says not at all. Shema Paul says no. Anthony Tinto says no. Anthony Tinto, it's a meteor shower. Someone just sent it for me. So Roland Bahadur says no. Ron M says no. What says you, caller?
No.
Okay.
All right. Okay.
All right. 222-8255. Toll free North Americans 866-525-10 no. 1099. Bobby. Morning, Bob. Says no. Richard P. Knights, no. CJ from New York, no way. The state has invested $26 billion in the police service in the past 10 years. The question, yes or no? We'd love to hear where you're calling from, no messaging from. Do you feel safer? Yes or no? Good morning, caller.
Good morning. That figure quoted is what was spent on the police service or on
police service only.
Oh, just the police service only. Oh, no.
No, just the police service, not the army, not the regiment.
Wow. So how much was spent on national security in total?
That's a different story. Paul has that info. He probably share with us later.
I say no.
Yeah. All right. Anthony, let's see.
So the state has invested $26 billion in the TTPS in the past 10 years. Do you feel safer? That's our poll this morning. What
did I do CJ in New York? I can't remember if I did CJ in New York. That's a no.
Yeah, you did that already.
Okay. CPD saying the best police officers kudos to PM Rowley. Hell yes. Well, he says hell yes, I'm carrying.
Really peace for you, the safety and security. This is some ministers.
No problem, Anthony. It's a meteor shower. Yeah.
We didn't see it clearly, Paul.
Okay, thank you, Mrs. R. All right. Do you feel safer after the state has spent and invested $26 billion in the police service?
Furthermore, the government has financed the police to the tune of $26 billion over that same 10-year period. I mean, I invented $26 billion. Billion dollars.
So to talk to the 28255 North Americans 866-525-1099, and that's absolutely toll free. And of course, you can also vote via the streaming platforms, via the messaging portals there. And if you're watching us at M&E TV, good morning to you in Trinidad and Tobago and up the Caribbean. And
let's get into our major news right now. Evie is in.
This is your news bulletin from Power 102 Digital.
TTPS officers continue to return tactical gear to meet the Wednesday deadline. Independent Senator Suniti Maharaj criticizes government for what she calls recycling of failed crime-fighting measures. The opposition United National Congress expresses serious concerns regarding the bidding process for the Petrotrin refinery and head of the People's National Movement's Council in Tobago, Ansel Dennis, to take office in the Senate on Monday, replacing Laura Lazama Leasing. Details in a moment. You are listening to news on Power 102 Digital to 7 o'clock. I'm Avril Sintel-Bab. Good morning. As TTPS officers continue to comply with an order to return tactical gear to meet the Wednesday deadline, officers have discovered gear that was allegedly issued to a police officer who has been on sick leave for about a year, as well as camouflage items and a firearm were discovered by police officers at a house in Guaguari yesterday morning. Among the items recovered were a Phantom BB pistol, 4.5 millimeter with a holster, a TTPS identification badge in the name of a police constable, a blue T-shirt with a TTPS emblem, a pair of black cargo pants, a blue operational jacket with 2 TTPS shoulder patches and 2 front police patches, a black cap marked police, a ski mask, 2 pairs of camouflage trousers, and a patterned T-shirt. The police team retrieved the items at a house in La Savane Circular in Newlands. The officers had a high court search warrant to search for firearms and ammunition at the house. During the search, the items were found concealed under a mattress. The officer, whose name was on the badge and identification card, was last attached to the Eastern Police Division. He was detained by his colleagues and taken to the Mayaro Police Station for questioning by his senior officers. A civilian, a man of Mayaro, was also detained for questioning in connection with the discovery. Independent Senator Suniti Maharaj yesterday criticized the government for what she called recycling of failed crime-fighting measures. In her contribution to the budget debate at the Senate sitting, Maharaj stated that this country is heading for a new record murder rate. She said with murders at the current rate, it should be no surprise if TNT did not establish a new record this year, probably between 630 and 650 murders. She added that organized crime continues to be a problem, with the gangs being the minions of the chiefs. Maharaj said crime has crossed a threshold where criminal acts are random and opportunistic. Maharaj also pointed out that there is no focus on the real problem, the inflow of guns from the coast and issues of human trafficking. She also emphasized the need to secure borders. The senator further called for accountability and transparency regarding the allocation of $50 million for community initiatives. She expressed hope that this money would not flow through party groups for cultural and sporting activities, leading to a spike in crime due to competition for funds. The opposition United National Congress has expressed serious concerns regarding the bidding process for the Petrotrin refinery in Pointe-a-Pierre and is demanding that the procedure be scrapped entirely and that a criminal forensic investigation be initiated. Speaking in the upper house yesterday during the 2025 budget debate, UNC Senator Wade Mark made the call as he accused the government of attempting to manipulate the process to favor Indian businessman Naveen Jindal. He said the call was being made after the UNC had gathered background information on the 3 companies shortlisted to bid for the refinery. In his 2024-2025 budget presentation, Finance Minister Com Imbert announced that Cabinet had shortlisted 3 companies from a total of 10 interested parties. The shortlisted bidders consist of CRO Consortium, a Trinidad-based entity comprising DR Commodities Limited, Chemi Tech, and Ocala Inca Energy LLC from the United States, and Dando PLC from Nigeria. The selection process was conducted by Scotia Capital USA in partnership with an evaluation committee. Jindal, an industrialist and chairman of Jindal Steel and Power, was initially among the 10 companies interested in acquiring the refinery. However, he withdrew his interest in a letter to Prime Minister Dr. Keith Rowley dated July 26th, citing character assassination from the opposition following his visit to Trinidad on June 17th. Jindal described the opposition's reaction as unjust attacks and raised concern about the potential instability these actions could create for investors. You are listening to news on Power 102 Digital to 7 o'clock. Head of the People's National Movement's Council in Tobago, Ansel Dennis, will take office or the oath of office in the Senate on Monday as a government senator. He replaces Laurel Lazama Leasing, who resigned as a senator after being appointed to serve as a government senator from 2007 to 2010 and was reappointed to the position in the 12th Republican Parliament, which commenced in 2020. Senate President Nigel De Freitas declared Laurel Lazama Leasing seats vacant as guided by the president.
Now, therefore, I, Christine Carla Kangaloo, President as aforesaid, acting in accordance with the advice of the Prime Minister in exercise of the power vested in me by the said Section 43(2)(e) of the Constitution of the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago, do hereby declare the seat of you, Laurel Lazama Leasing, to be vacant with effect from the 25th of September, 2024.
De Freitas then made the official declaration declaring the way for Mr. Dennis' appointment.
I, Ansel Dennis, having been appointed a member of Parliament, do swear by Almighty God that I will bear true faith and allegiance to Trinidad and Tobago, will uphold the Constitution and the law, and will conscientiously and impartially discharge the responsibilities to the people of Trinidad and Tobago, upon which I am about to enter.
Finally, here is weather news for the period today till midnight. Trinidad and Tobago, partly cloudy to cloudy and breezy with light to moderate showers and occasional thunderstorms. Conditions should begin settling by late afternoon to give way to a partly cloudy night despite few lingering showers. Gusty winds and street or flash flooding may occur in or near heavy showers or thunderstorms. You can expect a temperature high of 32 degrees Celsius, both at Piarco International Airport and Crown Point in Tobago. Currently, it is 25 degrees Celsius at both localities. Recapping your headlines to 7 o'clock, the TTPS officers continue to return tactical gear to meet the Wednesday deadline. Officers discovered gear that was allegedly used by a police officer on sick leave for about a year. Independent Senator Suniti Maharaj criticizes government for what she calls recycling of failed crime-fighting measures. The opposition United National Congress expresses serious concerns regarding the bidding process for the Petrotrin refinery, and head of the People's National Movement's Council in Tobago, Ansel Dennis, takes the oath of office in Senate on Monday, replacing Laurel Lazama Leasing. I'm Avril Sindhilbab. That was News 2, 7 o'clock on Power 102 Digital. Look out for more news in detail at 12 noon today and an update at 8 o'clock this morning. For more details, log on to power102fm.com.
Up to date and credible. Power 102 Digital.
All right. Thank you so much, Avril, for major news. You can join Avril again. Come at 8 o'clock for a news brief. All right. Traffic-wise, I got this one little issue to tell you about. It is by Piarco Lights. Yeah, it is, let me see, westbound. Yep, a car has broken down in the middle lane, so that is creating a little problem there. All right, by Freeport, I'm seeing another accident. It is southbound by Freeport on the Solomon Huchoy Highway. So that's going to create a little problem as well. As I said earlier on, the Diwali Nagar opens this evening. So you can expect some traffic until next Wednesday when it's last night. All right. Eve of Diwali, which is next Tuesday. All right. Let's get back into our morning poll where we asked you, the state has invested $26 billion in the Trinidad and Tobago Police Service in the past 10 years. Our question to you after that, do you feel safer? Let's see if I have any more votes. Scorpion Pepper says no, no, no. Julia S. Batiste says no. Yeah. Okay, let's see. We have, no, I am not safer. This is a Trini in Fort Lauderdale. Kim out in Sugarguanas, not at all. Thank you, Kim. All right, and that's all I got. So for Julia S. Batiste says no. Right, that's what I got so far.
All right, so our poll this morning, the state has invested $26 billion in the Trinidad and Tobago Police Service in the past 10 years. Do you feel safer? That was our poll this morning. We had 40 people voting on the poll in the allotted time. Of the 40 people, 39 of you said no, you do not feel safer. One person said yes. So one person said yes, 39 of you said no. Of course, the nays have it all. And of course, you can continue to vote on this poll throughout the day, throughout programming, and we'll give you the final results tomorrow morning, which will be Wednesday and midweek. In this, as we head towards the weekend.
Yeah.
No, we have no holidays this weekend. It's next weekend.
Next week we can have it.
Yeah, next week. Not be next weekend. Next week.
Yeah.
So yes, but you know what we do have? We have theater on this weekend. At the Central Bank Auditorium. That's Extravagant News is on Saturday at 8:30 p.m. One show only. Port of Spain is the final show of this play in Port of Spain. So it's on Saturday. Of course, tickets available at the Central Bank box office from tomorrow. And tickets are available now at all the usual outlets. K-Squared Fashions, West Mall, East Gates, and Brentwood Mall. Electronics Arima, Jabili Rawe, Chinapuna, and Tony's Florals in Fall Park Shopping Plaza and Sharpeville Auto Services. Get your tickets early. Check RSRR Productions Theater on social media for more information.
All right. Thank you, Richie Rich. Of course, on the screen that you're watching is where that WPC, the vehicle.
It's the car that the WPC who was shot multiple times.
Vehicle that she was in.
And is now fighting for her life at hospital. The officer was shot twice in her head, in her breast and right hand. She apparently just came back from a trip and was picked up by a friend at the Piarco International Airport and was on her way to her Carney home, which is not far from the airport. On arrival at her home, they were waiting for the front gate to open when two gunmen alighted from an unknown car, rushed to the vehicle, and attempted to open the door. They were unsuccessful, and the men opened fire, and that's the picture you're seeing there of them sadly shooting the officer several times. She is now fighting for her life.
Unbelievable.
Steve, the video shows cars driving by. I ain't gonna go through that.
Yeah. Well, it showed it. No, well, the video shows. I have the video after security cam footage of the WPC. They head to their hydraulic trace home, and they're in a white car, and they reversed into their driveway. While doing so, the perpetrators came by, pull up in front of the gate, and the guys came out and did what they had to do.
Well, from the report,
you have to be. I don't know. Yes.
I mean, what you have to be, Steve. She was clearly stalked.
Yeah, and remember, it was it last week or week before.
Now come back from a trip, okay? Very few people probably know that you come back from a trip at 1:30 in the morning heading home. What you going to do again? Tell me.
A gentleman jumped into what they would call a taxi from Piarco International Airport and was robbed. Got him last week or week before. I don't know. Our guest has deferred to another time, called me a little while ago, so we'll open up the lines. Let's hear what you have to say. $26 billion, 10 years. That's what was spent on the TDPS.
There's a picture in The Guardian /CNC3 of officers with plastic bags returning their tactical gear. I mean, it's the most hilarious thing you could think of.
In a line.
I don't know. The blind, you didn't the blind, yes.
Good morning, caller.
Good morning, Steve. Good
morning, Zena.
Richard. And Mia Moore.
Good morning.
Morning, Zena.
Listen, two things I want to talk about quickly. One, that money spent on the police. Does that money include what they have to pay to the courts many a time for police infractions?
They do pay that. They come out to the office of the Attorney General. They don't pay that.
All right, so that is not from the police funds.
No.
But then, the amount of officers on suspension, are they getting paid?
Most of the time, yes.
People pay?
Yes, yes.
All that is a recurring expenditure there, that for job work that we're not getting. All right, that is one. But my main issue this morning, I want to pick up that education topic fight. Listen to me. My first problem with schools now is that they have closed down. I don't know which government or who came up with the idea to close the training colleges. There are many people bright as a bulb and they cannot impart the knowledge to students.
That's true.
That is the main problem.
Teaching is a skill.
That is a skill.
The second problem is that they are taking people now with degree to teach children. Many of them, as I say, the bright light bulbs, they cannot impart the knowledge because they don't have the teaching
Not
skills.
because you know it, you can teach it. Huh? You're right.
And
skill.
Too many teachers skipping classes to go to get a degree. And many times the children, they're just making mischief and playing. So they have to look into a lot of things. And I think bringing back training colleges is one. Putting back post-primary in schools. You understand? And the curriculum is too rigid. What I noticed is that children, even in primary school, when we were going to primary schools, we would learn little poems, little school songs, playing a lot. Children are doing that now. They have the schoolyards and many of them who have grass, they're covered in bush. They're not playing. They're not learning no poems, no little songs. What is all that? No games. Long ago we used to have a lot of sports every year. Now one again at school might have a sport once for the whole 5 years that children go into the school. No. They need to relax and don't talk about the book bags. That from standard 3, you're breaking the children backs. They're not some of these schools and having no timetable. And the kind of teaching, the lessons they're doing sometimes not even for them, and they're going to use that in their lifetime. They're cramming the children with too many things that's not going to be useful to them. Right? They need to start to relax that education system, and in between, where's the respect, as you say? Where's the teaching of manners? Huh? The religious things they used to have in school classes. Everybody religion, they go into the classes. All those things cut out. Man, listen, that education system needs a revamping, and you see after COVID, it has got worse. And I said it already.
It's fine. The most of results is fine.
If they check the system.
If you really release the standard for seconding and SE, it's fine. Everything all right.
No, man. They need post-primary for the ones.
You don't need post-primary if you pick up the issues in standards 1 to 5. You don't. You shouldn't wait till SE to find out somebody not performing.
Well, all right,
True.
but some of them, but don't
Why you go wait till SEA then put them in post-primary? What sense that make?
Well, post-primary, Paul, it made a lot of sense long ago.
It don't make no sense now because you shouldn't wait till they reach SEA to realize they're failing out.
I am not
no
saying
sense.
no, but I am saying if they institute proper programs and you still can make, it's because sometimes you're slow, very slow.
Yes, but there's a reason why I'm not saying you're still underperforming. It's not just you're slow, just so. That's long time thinking. Well, you're slow, why is it? Forget you.
Well, maybe I will stick to my long time thinking, and we had a better society then, right? So, if you have all your modern thinking, well, you go right ahead. I made my point.
You have no problem waiting till a child reach SEA to realize the child performance.
All right, well, that is one point. You go kill me for that. You have your view, and I have mine.
I would never kill you.
You have your view, and I have mine.
Right. Nothing wrong with that.
Right. Okay. And not everything you say that you feel you're right, you know.
I never said so, but I asked you a question. Do you wait until standard 5 to realize the child not performing?
No,
Is that what you wait?
No. And this is what I'm saying. If you do standard 5 and it happens so anyway, and I'm coming back to the teaching again. We need trained teachers to impart the knowledge and to look and to realize when children not grasping what you are telling them.
Look all the officers. Watch.
And we need to relax the children's brain. Let them learn a little poetry. Let them say poems. Let them sing. Let them have a so in school. Pardon me?
That I agree with. It needs to be varied and diverse. It doesn't only maths and English.
All right. I say my piece. Let me let somebody else.
All right. Thank you.
Look on the screen. Look how your officers fighting crime.
Yeah. That's the line.
Zeno gone?
Yeah, we have another call.
Watch what officers have to be doing. Line up to give back tactical when they should be fighting crime.
Well, I have already said I thought that was a silly and simplistic decision.
Good job, leadership. Good job. So while
that's my opinion,
they line up to give back uniform.
A $26 billion line. Good morning, caller. Good morning.
That makes sense. Somebody sitting on a meeting and come up with that idea. That makes sense. Yeah. That's going to help.
Caller, good morning.
That is what is important.
Caller, good morning. Moving on.
Well, one of the articles in the Express today is called "Deep Division in PNM," considering that Stuart Young apparent heir issue to the leadership of the PNM.
What newspaper is that?
The Express, and of course they interviewed. Apparently, if I may just read a little paragraph in it. The tension in the party over Young was soon felt and heard last Saturday at the PNM General Council meeting at Balize House. PNM executive member Jennifer Batiste Primus voted against the decision to ratify the postponement of the party's convention and the internal election and to hold the event at a later date. She raised concerns that a release was initially issued announcing that the internal elections and convention were cancelled, which was ultra-virus the party's constitution. Party sources told the Express that a secret ballot was rejected for the vote at the General Council meeting, and it was pointed out that of 140 members who attended, only 74 participated in the vote. Sources said that PNM General Secretary Foster Cummings directly told Rowley that he has put the issue of leadership in question with his recent comments in Parliament and emphasized that there can be no uncertainty as to who their leader is. The Express was also told that there is no race strictly between Cummings and Young for leadership, and there are others who have not yet come forward because at present there is no vacancy for leadership until 2026. Other people said to have leadership ambitions include Other people said to have leadership ambitions include Dr. Amory Brown, Faris Al-Rawi, and Penelope Beckles. PNM insiders said that some party group members have expressed disappointment over Rowley's continued support of Young in the aftermath of offensive remarks he made in Parliament against opposition leader Kamala Persad-Bissessar. It goes on. The article goes on and on and on.
What's the question tomorrow? Do you think there's a back and in the PNM over leadership? That's the question tomorrow.
Possibly. Possibly. It's a possible question. They may either you have suddenly started putting somebody to act as PM over this stalwart that Colm Imbert has been in terms of that position. Raised eyebrows. It even raised
old too, so he must see any way out to you, don't know.
Really? He whispered that to you in the Senate?
He not old?
He whispered that to you in the Senate?
How old is Colm Imbert?
I don't know. You're supposed to know you in the Senate.
Well, I don't. Minister, how are you standing on the 1462? How old are you?
Ask it. You'll make papers.
Let me Google. Hold on. Colm.
But anyway, that's some of that article. So thanks for giving me the time to read it.
Age.
A bit of it, at least. So we can get back to taking.
He's 67 years old. He was born in 1957 on July 30th. So he ain't that old.
No. So we see how all of this plays out. Wendell, I'm sure we'll have an opinion tomorrow on it.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. I'm sure he'll have an opinion.
Oh, yes. Particularly regarding Minister Ember, you know, how much they like each other deeply. They share deep affections. Shall we open the phones again?
The morning has been open. We have a caller on for the last 5 minutes.
I don't think they should dislike. I don't think they dislike each other.
Good morning.
Good morning, caller.
Good morning. I'm glad you're not holding the line for over 7 minutes. I hope you guys are going to help me pay my bill. Are you there?
No.
Yeah, Chris Cabba is a Metro Police from London. He shot a black alleged gangster in a Q8 in London 2 years ago. The marksman from the police, the Metro Police, he was on a murder charge. He got justice yesterday. So I just want Trinidad and Tobago to watch into that, because I was listening to a lady talking about justice wasn't served to Mr. Peterson. He died without getting justice. And I totally agree with that lady who called in and gave her views, her opinion on the justice system in Trinidad and Tobago. And that is why crime is out of hand. If they expedite on these fellows that they have in prison, are sitting down, they having my pay as you earn money and hang them, things will get better here.
But the police service has the Professional Standard Bureau, and they have a tribunal for dealing with this.
Thank you, caller.
I don't know why, if these entities, when they always say the police Professional Standard Bureau functions adequately, it's taken 10 years to find if an officer is guilty or innocent of an alleged infraction. Why it taking 10 years?
Mm-hmm.
Somebody wanted to take 10 years.
Good morning.
Good morning, caller. Yes, that can. Sometimes you have to pull the rein a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
But this thing where we're talking about with the PNM, that I think there's a storm in a teacup. They're only looking for sensation to make all kind of what you overlook. And I think the selection awards is just to cause drama.
That's Ragoobarsingh doing that.
Yeah,
I was reading an article in the Trinidad and Tobago Express.
The way you read it.
Yeah, but that is just a watch me. That is how it is for these things. Anyway, that is secondary to me. I already talked about what else the education system. If you check out this, when we were going to school in primary school, and you had things like simple interest, principal rate and time, long division, long multiplication, and those kind of things. Children had serious problems understanding that. Shortly after that, they came and said that every child must have a secondary education, and try to put you out of the without this common entrance, putting them in these classes. No, when you do that, the type of education change, because you're now going into where you have science, integrated science, mathematics, and that kind of stuff. Where you have simultaneous equations, quadratic equations, all kind of algebra and stuff. The mind that could not have accepted, who don't understand multiplication, division, and addition in the early stages, and you put them into that, how are they moving from there? And then you drop the pass mark to 30%. I don't know if you're trying to meet them. I mean, I don't understand how that will work. And lastly, what I'm looking at with this crime thing, it seems to me, I don't know. No, there was I don't know if anybody saw it on the media. There was a video circling where a fella was saying that we had to start to shoot these police and shoot their family and shortly after that you see this thing happen with police. I don't know if it correlated. No. The thing I'm also looking at with this is that it seems to have a lot of contract jobs with these killing things. Other than the domestic and the gang, and it seems to have a lot of contract killing. So this is what I think is carrying up this murder thing. This is what making this thing bad enough. A lot of, because people killing people. I mean that police officer that got shot. That clearly you could see that was according to Richard. That was a stalk thing.
Well, now that is 2 officers shot in 2 days.
Yeah.
Well, yeah,
that was not cause for great alarm. Something wrong.
When I saw the video, I don't know if you all saw it. A guy was saying that we had to start shooting these police and shooting the family and all that. That was I saw that on social media, and then shortly after I see this thing come out with the police being shot. So I don't know. I don't know, but it got my attention when I heard what happened.
Yeah.
And these contract killings, they have serious contract killings going on here. You know?
Yep.
And it had to have people doing that. It had to be people with money, because to pay to kill somebody to satisfy your mind and all kind of thing, that or because somebody say something or some kind of letting somebody with your lady friend or some kind of thing. I mean, it's real bad.
All right. Thank you, caller.
Thank you.
All the best. Have a good one. Good morning.
Morning,
Mr. Patrick.
Morning, Mr. Patrick.
Gentlemen in the studio. Wendell. Morning,
Morning, Mr.
This
Patrick.
conversation we having about children and education and thing, and up there yesterday I was listening to Mr. Fali in Tobago talking about the parents Saturday and parents of yesterday, and I just always keep saying everything in society come from a home, and right now we don't have no home, we have houses. Because the values in homes right now, we have no home, we have all kind of home. So everything you're seeing displayed in the school, in the police service, in the army, on the job, that comes from values that people learn in the home. And right now the home, in a disarray, the home is the first school. You know, Mr. Polichet?
Yes, but not all homes have the same values. People keep saying that as if all homes are the same. Yes, all homes. That. So if the home is promulgating values of thieving and robbing because of that generational gang members in homes and robbers in homes, what do you think going to happen? Them parents, some of them parents very well send their children out to rob people. That is home too.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm talking about. A home is where I have values and principles.
And not all people have the same values and principles.
Well, that's not a home. That people living in a
house.
home.
It's not a home to you. It's a home to them.
I'm going home. But when you go home, all you hear is cussing and fighting and that home. Nurturing is a home. Nurture children. You nurture children to fit into society. and to be productive and useful.
Your statements presume every home is propagating the same value systems, and every home is not.
No. I'm not saying that.
Because you're using the word home generally.
Well, I say, all right. The home is where your values. Your home is your first school. Your home, where your mother and
good
father
and bad values.
Well, there are bad value and good value in the home. But
yes.
I don't know. Yeah, we know
all homes are the same and all parents are the same, and that is not so.
All right. What do you think about Fali, though? His statement. And what did you now take him to task? You think about that statement, Mr. Fali? Paul, you could not go with a pen for a long time. You might also find a way to get that.
I try to think about Fali.
Like that. So we see things happening now, and some of the parents are not around, absentee parents, so the children leaving up the mind sometimes.
Parents right there and encourage them in the wrongdoing. Right there.
Right there.
That happens.
Well, God help us in this country. But
all parents have the same moral compass. They don't. There are some parents who will ask, where you get at? And some parents will, well, bring one home tomorrow for your brother.
Bring one for me.
Thanks, Mr. Patrick.
Yeah.
All right. The police sent out a press release yesterday. 7 arrested in Southern Division between the hours of 3 a.m. and 8 a.m. on the 20th of October. For this operation, targeting suspects involved in serious crimes. Among those arrested is a 14-year-old from Paradise Heights, Mova, for the possession of cocaine for the purpose of trafficking. 14 years old. This exercise was at between 3 a.m. and 8 a.m. What are 14-year-old doing out there?
The same home.
Good morning.
Mm-hmm.
Good morning.
Good morning, gentlemen. How are you guys?
We are great. You're fine. Few scattered showers. How are you doing? Atlanta is doing well?
Yeah, election time. So best we can do.
2 weeks. World Series starts on Friday.
Well, I already voted. I voted early. I
did you?
Yeah, I voted early, and I'll be in Trinidad when this thing is going on. So I voted early.
Okay. Let me make my list of what I need.
Okay, send your list. Send it quick.
Yes. Okay.
So I apologize. I did not hear when you were saying good morning. I was listening to Miss Dina and Dr. Paul's discourse. It's always so funny listening to them. But I agree with Paul. I just want to say I agree with Paul in regards to the education system. I am so heavy on that. Every time I come home and I visit, and just the kids, like, they don't read. They don't, oh my God, it's sad to see what's going on with our children. Home used to boast so much about the education system. And when I come home and see what our kids are doing in the schools, I was like, what? Where we are in 2024. You know, we're so far behind. No, the private schools, I have friends who are good children in private schools, they are doing well. But for some reason, in the public schools, there is a lot of lack. Technology is a thing that needs to be there. There's not a lot of, I will just give you an example with here in Georgia, we set these at a very young age. And sometimes not all kids will be doctors and lawyers. So it have theme schools, meaning that it is public schools, but in the public schools you'll have science, technology, performing arts. So at a young age, you already see where this child is going to be and they guide them to that direction, right? So your child is not sitting doing the same, everybody doing the same thing. Like, you know, you have an apple tree and then you have a giraffe, a snake, a goldfish, and you're trying to tell all of them to pick that apple high up there. It's not fair for all kids to have to reach the same goal because they're all not the same. So Paul, I agree with you with assessment. Another thing I realized in Trinidad and Tobago, parent involvement is next to zero. Here, from early childhood all the way to high school, we have to make mandatory volunteer hours. You know what I'm saying? We cannot, and if you can't make it as a mother or father, you better have a sister, a uncle, a grandparent. The involvement is so lacking. You know, there's a lot of things that we as parents learn. Then the child it feels so great seeing you in the school. You know, so Paul, I agree with you. I don't agree with somebody testing y'all do that the scores are very low. I've never heard that in my life. That's like, and then we have to get out of this mentality of where they have a 1 and a 2 and you have a rank from a school. A 1 and a 2 graduation from high school here. What about college, university? What about performing arts schools? What about my son is in engineering technology, but he's performing arts. He likes both. You know.
Well, the good thing is that both UTT and UE have performing arts faculties and creative arts faculties, both UTT and UE.
But what are they doing from primary school all the way? Because some kids might be in that, but we have parents who will be like, well, they had to get 1 and a 2 and they had to do, and they look at performing arts like it's nothing. I have, out of the 10 kids I can tell you in my son's elementary school right now who is dancing with Alvin Ailey, who are they're just all over, you know, and they're doing well, and they're in university. You know what I'm saying? So they're doing something that they love, but for some reason they look at, you know, these things as, I don't know why they shrug it. You know, it's like, no, you have to be a lawyer, you have to be this, you know. Like I said, my son was in the Lion King and all these different things, and we used to go and learn. So we fun for him, but his engineering was what was important, and we put him in robotics. I think robotics and STEM should be in every school. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I hope it in the crime. I come home, I don't feel unsafe. I mean, I everybody to say it. I don't see what we have here in the U.S. Like, you know, taking time under control and so forth. I feel unsafe because I don't have my license to carry weapons with me. I am safe here because I do what I have to do to be safe. And I trust that our judicial system will do its work and the police will do its work. I don't think the police are doing their work, not all, some. When it's compromised, what could you do? And the judicial system, I think you'll have to sweep the stairs from the top go down. And you have to start from that judicial system. And, you know, so hopefully it gets better. I always optimistic for my country.
All right. Thank you, dear.
Have a terrific Tuesday.
All right. You too. All the best. Good morning, caller.
Steve, I want to make one more point here quickly. You see that Parent Teachers Association is needed in schools. And again, the education system must make it mandatory that parents attend meetings when they call meetings. That is one of the main problems. And most times, is mothers going to the meeting. Where are the fathers?
You're so right with that. Well, a single parent, yes.
Yes, and they need to make it mandatory. At least one of your parents must attend parent-teachers meeting or when they call for parents to come. And parents send children to school and they couldn't care less. They know what's going on. So that is what they need to look at. And again, I say, playing in between is important. The sports, the singing, the dancing. Oh God, schools just around that park in Arima. To me, like none of them utilizing those big beautiful trees and the grass that it have there. They're not coming out. They're not singing. They're not hearing poems. We used to go under trees outside from the classroom and learn tables and all. They just sit in a classroom from 7 in the morning till 5 in the evening after lessons. Good God,
Thank you.
Thanks, Zina. Good morning. Hello.
Hey, good morning, gentlemen.
Morning.
Good morning.
Guys, for this interview with the Minister of National Security. I came into the end of the interview. I just wanted to ask you, was the topic of the cutting overtime raised at all?
Police overtime?
Yeah, the proposed cutting.
No, we didn't speak about police overtime.
Yeah, because you see, we can't, and unfortunately, this one we saw the ambush on the WPC Mahabir. I hope that she makes it through, but it's
Yeah, I hope so too.
Yeah, where she was shooting at chest and head and so on. And it just goes to show that everybody's a target. But to me, it seems as if that was a following from the airport, and of course the attempted robbery of herself, most likely the vehicle and so on. But on the subject of the police overtime, why I would have asked that question is because that I understand the desire to cut the bill and so on. But when you look at overtime in the police service, that is a built-in feature of the service. And I say that to say, look at the deliberations in Parliament. Now, Parliament has a dedicated guard unit, right? Which is good. It wasn't like that before, right? So that, like, before the setup of the guard unit, what would have happened? Let me take something like the budget debate. So let's say you were on duty on your daylight shift, and you were sent to the Parliament to work. You would arrive there an hour before the sitting, and you would stay there until the sitting ends. And most of the time, that would have been, let me say, like about for the latest 8, sometimes 10 in the evening. So which means that you would have gone over 4 hours when you work at 8 to 6 shift. Similarly, when it went to the other place as well. So in instances like that, overtime is built in. You take the example of if you're on a guard duty, perhaps guarding a prisoner at the hospital. There's always overlap in the hours and so on. So I think what the minister needs to do is to find a way to have the commissioner of police as the chief financial officer in the service regulate, try and get a marriage between the actual strength and the sanction strength. And I think that is something that needs to be questioned a little bit more in terms of the much vaulted manpower audit that was done in the police service some years ago. Because you see, that is something that people don't get a handle on, the actual strength and the sanction strength. And I can tell you, gentlemen, that if you try to marry the two, you would see where the actual shortfall is in the police service on a daily basis, and why calls for service might be somewhat hampered, not just from lack of vehicles or whatever, the usual excuses, but because of the actual people who are there to respond to the calls. And I think that perhaps there's a question you may wish to ask him about next time you have him on, or anyone from senior police leadership, to see where the
hopefully we'll have some shortly.
Yeah, in those two areas, the actual strength of the police service and the sanction strength. Thank you, gentlemen, and thanks for the opportunity. Take care.
All right, buddy. All the best there. All right, so 222-8255, toll-free North Americans, 866-525-1099. Good morning, Cascade, St. Anne's, and Peppy. Good morning to you all.
Do you think that crime, I know we have discussed this before and we even did a poll on it, but crime is the number one issue that is going to affect the 2025 elections. And well, I shouldn't say going to affect it, but it's going to certainly be one of the primary considerations of voters as you go to the polls. And, how is this, if the crime situation deteriorates, if you get a murder count that's larger than ever in our history, because we're over 500 at this point, how is that going to fare for the People's National Movement in 2025? I mean, I have no clue how it's going to impact. And of course, posters have started. I don't think posters have started to take sample polls on all of those issues as we head towards 2025, but it certainly has to be a political concern of the People's National Movement.
Yeah. But what could they say? After 10 years and $26 billion, what can they say to convince me that they know what they do?
That the other side will do worse. That's one of the that's one of the things they will say.
Yeah, I figured out your first thing will come
That's what they will say. But what I'm saying is that, but it has to be a political concern that the crime situation continues to deteriorate in terms of the citizens.
Do you think it affected the outcome of the local government election? Because it was a pretty strong UNC pillar.
Well, the UNC said they got certain advantages over the PNM in the election, but minute from an overall perspective. But I don't know. Do local government elections really factor in those things?
Well,
I don't know.
One campaign was about reform, and one campaign was about citizen security.
So you're saying it is not a consideration? Is that what you're saying?
No, I think it was a hot topic in the lead up to the local government election. I don't know if it impacted it, but it certainly was a big topic.
Yeah.
Remember
So you don't think
and empty the clip and all that kind of stuff?
So you don't think the crime situation is going to impact possibly PNM's fortunes in 2025?
I think it's going to be the number one issue in the election leading to 2025.
Yeah.
Good morning, caller.
But has the possibility to impact, I should say. I don't say it will necessarily impact.
Good morning. I'm talking, but I'm hearing a lot of background noise and talking on the show. Am I on the air?
You are indeed. Go ahead.
Good morning. I think that the question that is being asked about the $26 billion is a loaded question. I think it's not fair to a lot of the good officers. I'm not a policeman, by the way. To the officers and that do a lot of good work. And I also think that it's a fantastic show. It's the third time I'm listening to the show, and I would like to see maybe something called Reset Trinidad and Tobago, because everybody seems to be talking about the same thing. All the negative things about what we're doing or what we're not doing, and we're not saying what we should be doing. Education, security, national security, etc., etc. And we are talking about if we are safer, but yet we are not holding the Commissioner of Police responsible for the $26 billion over the years, etc. So I would certainly like to see a program Reset Trinidad and Tobago, and I think it will do wonders for us in a positive light.
Yeah, where are you calling us from?
Diego Martin.
Oh, Diego, okay. All righty. Thanks, buddy. Thanks for tuning in.
Yes.
All righty. Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning, gentlemen. Is it possible for you all to get an immigration officer on to discuss the American is sending back a lot of deporting people here, and we are not sending people out of the country. We have a lot of idlers here. If you're not going to school and you're not working, deport you.
I mean, deport you. Who are you talking to?
I don't
understand. I don't know. You take your coffee this morning or whatever tablet you take with it? I don't understand that.
Steve, I just want to tell that last caller that I started it. He heard me say things of what should be done, and I put it out there. Although Paul finds some of the things is old time, but that is why we have to bring back the old time days. You understand?
You of all people should not have no problem with old time. Can I deal with you?
Oh Lord.
Mm-hmm.
That
I like old time thing. You ain't realize that? After all these
well,
years,
long time I know it's older man you're taking home.
Right.
Bring back the old time.
You can't say I like old time thing because look, right now, watch. I deal with old time thing now.
Paul is still drink coffee in an enamel cup.
And watch now, you see that color cup you're drinking, that bordering a green like it bordering on yellow, change it.
But you need to go and check your eyes because this is no yellow in it. There's green.
Well, it bordering like it
green.
Right.
Well, you didn't go to school, this is green. Do you see yellow in this?
Right, but it giving me
this is green.
You heard what I'm telling you? It looking like it want to turn right.
Go and check your eyes.
I'll get a red cup for you.
Go and check your eyes.
All right. And the next time you're leaving, especially Friday, you must say, "Gone, bye-bye, love." You just disappearing, and we'll see you on the bike, and you're gone.
I have coming to the stairs after disappear.
Right, you're doing it too often now. Right, bye-bye.
I need to get some holy water from Mount St. Benedict. Every now and then when you and Zena are talking, I have to spray my screen.
What holy waters do for you? You believe in that?
Spray my screen.
Since when you're using holy water? She should know I like whole thing.
You have a demon that need to come out.
Probably. I can't argue with that statement.
Oh, Lord. Are you too bad, yes?
Yeah, but
I don't know. $26 billion really shocked me. And I have no problem once it comes to public safety with the investment. But I don't think we're getting, well, not a thing. I know we're not getting the results. No, absolutely no, we're not getting the results. Commissioner come, commissioner go, commissioner there, commissioner say, same old khaki pants, no pun intended. Them big thing yesterday is for officers who should be on the beat to line up and give back tactical uniform. Make a lot of sense why they should be fighting crime. And that giving back that tactical uniform gonna make so much sense. And while they give back the uniform, they find uniform on their mattress somewhere. So the ones who are actually doing the wrong things are not gonna give back the uniform, you know. You know that, right?
You know, if this was in a movie, it would be in a comedy, a farce.
Of course, it's a comedy. Them sit down and decide, oh, come on.
And it's like, I'm watching the line yesterday, and I'm like,
now we tell the officers to bring back the tactical gear.
When I watched the line yesterday of people standing up to give back uniforms and taking back up that gray shirt, I was like,
in plastic bag.
Trinidad and Tobago, land that I love.
But our whole
what
police
the hell are we doing?
That gonna make a difference.
What the hell are we doing? Come on. Come on. Seriously?
And they go line up to
Are there any adults in the damn room?
That's gonna make a big difference. And let me tell you something. After the deadline Wednesday, you know, uniforms still pulling up and taking people, right? You know that, right? Because the ones who are criminal-minded are not going to give back no uniform.
Because they have to be caught.
Serious?
And I maintain that memo is an admission of failure, that I am incapable of catching these people, so I'm going to try and change the uniform back to X, Y, and Z. How is that a policy? How?
You'll have a wonderful day, be safe.
That's why you need to come to the theater, you know.
I think
all
so.
of you people out there watching this show, that is why you need to come to the theater. The theater is a great de-stressor that takes you away from what goes on in Trinidad and takes you away for 2 hours, and you come back out feeling stress-free after 2 hours. It rejuvenates you, or as that gentleman caller said earlier, it resets you. So theater is on this weekend, on Saturday. Don't miss the opportunity for a reset of your stress levels. That's extravagant news. What in the dark comes to light is on at the Central Bank Auditorium on Saturday at 8:30 p.m. Of course, tickets available at the Central Bank Auditorium from tomorrow, and tickets available at usual outlets. K Squared Fashions West Mall, K Squared Fashions East Gate, and K Squared Fashions Brentwood Mall, Chagonas. Electronics Arima, Jabili Rawi, Tunapuna, Antoni's Florals in Val Park Shopping Plaza, and Sharflair Offered Services in Sharflair. That's where you can get your tickets. Tickets are $250 general, $300 reserved, and you can also check RSRR Productions Theater on social media for more information on how you can even purchase tickets online. But get your tickets early because it's one night only, and it's our final show of this play in Port of Spain. So this is your only opportunity to see it once you're in this area. And of course, it's on for one night only on Saturday. But yeah, you know, you're so much getting back to the TTPS. You so want the TTPS to succeed.
Yes.
You're all vested in your success. And a lot of times I know as police officers, you become disheartened by the criticism that callers and programs mete out in terms of how we see it. Because a lot of the time the citizenry feel under attack and they don't feel like you have our backs. And I'm not saying that you don't. And I must say that I think that is a ramping up of police presence. I do see cars all over the place wherever I go. But the best I could say, it has to be better. It has to be better in terms of how the country feels.
Mm-hmm.
And
And
we recognize you are from the country too.
Yeah.
You belong to this just like us. So,
all right. But thank you, Rich.
Invested in your success. That's what I would say. Have a fantastic day, and whatever you do, remember to smile and laugh. It's great for your health.
All right, let's get into our 8 o'clock news brief. If you're there.
This is your news bulletin from Power 102 Digital.
It is time for your news update to 8 o'clock. I'm Afro Cynthia Bab. Good morning. A woman police officer is presently fighting for her life after she was shot on her right hand, right breast, and twice to her head early this morning. Sources say that at around 1:35 a.m., WPC Quiana Mahabir of the TTPS band was picked up by a female friend at the Piarco International Airport to be carried to her Hydraulic Road, Kelly Village, Kearney home, which is a couple minutes away. On arrival at the premises, they were awaiting the front gate to open when two gunmen alighted from an unknown car and rushed to their vehicle. They attempted to open the locked doors. However, being unsuccessful, one of the gunmen began shooting to the right side of the vehicle, hitting the WPC. The men then fled the scene. Independent Senator Suniti Maharaj yesterday criticized the government for what she called recycling of failed crime-fighting measures. In her contribution to the budget debate at the Senate sitting, Maharaj stated that this country is heading for a new record murder rate. As TTPS officers continue to comply with an order to return tactical gear to meet the Wednesday deadline, officers have discovered gear that was allegedly issued to a police officer who has been on sick leave for about a year, as well as camouflage items and a firearm. They were discovered by police officers at a house in Guaraguari yesterday morning. And two maxis transporting students in Tobago crashed into each other yesterday after one of them reportedly had a brake failure. The incident is said to have occurred around 2:50 p.m. at the Claude Noel Highway near Darrell Spring Walkover. According to a statement from Secretary of Education Zurisha Hackett, emergency services arrived promptly and they were grateful. She said that the situation was not worse. Hackett said the Public Transport Service Corporation, which monitors the school transport service, is working closely with the police and fire service on the division's behalf to gather a full understanding of the cause of the incident. Well, that was your update to 8 o'clock. Look out for news in full at 12 noon.
Up to date and credible. Power 102 Digital.
There is a connection between government policy and law in the sense that all laws start as some type of government policy. So, for example, in Trinidad and Tobago, we would have had the recent national policy on persons with disabilities. And that policy talks in very strong terms about the need to both enact laws to provide for the human rights of persons with disabilities. It also talks about the need to amend laws that we have on our statute books right now that discriminate against persons with disabilities. So once that policy is adopted and approved by the cabinet, then the process of making it a law can begin. The difficulty with the policy remaining as a policy is two things. One, it's not enforceable. So it does not really give you any rights legally because it's just a policy, it's not a law. And the other thing is that policies can change over time. Policies can change over time as the needs of the government or the focus of the government itself changes. It can change if the government itself changes, so that it's not enough for us to say, well, we have a policy. We have to take that further step to make the policy a law, because that is what will give full protection for the human rights of persons with disabilities.